Do you need to raise Bill's? Can he raise audio? Can you guys hear him all right?
I can't do that.
Are you close to your mic, Bill, or?
I'm on an iPhone. I can speak up. How's that?
Yeah, probably have to be a little loud. If you're too loud, I'll let you know.
Okay.
What's up, boys?
What's up, Mac?
Hey.
And I have to do a promo for our local brewery and distillery.
Okay. I was actually going to do a little funny bit where this episode's been brought to you by Viking Cove Guest Homes, and I had a little pitch, but I'll let you jump in on the booze after that.
Go for it.
What is the booze, the distillery that you have there? Because I recognize that logo.
Yeah, it's actually won some awards. It's Icy Straits Vodka. And the big point of civic pride was about 3 years ago, we got a distillery to go along with our brewery. And that was, of course, front page news. And it said, Haynes gets distillery to go with brewery and still no traffic lights.
Well, they know it's important then, apparently.
Civic pride.
Kind of a cheesy cliche question, but I'm curious, like, so how does it feel for you and your wife to go up there and actually set down roots for a long period of time? Are you digging it?
Oh yeah. No, this is, I mean, I dropped out of college when like 1981 and drove a Volkswagen bus up here and was going to fish for salmon and live the rest of my life. And, you know, when you're 21, there's kind of holes in your plan. Mine was a lot like a colander. And so instead, and hitchhike New York, whatever. But anyway, we came up here with my wife, and it's her idea as we headed to empty nesters. And she said, you know, I got nothing to do, and I know how to make beds, and I know how to make scones. Let's
Yeah. Well, you must have I'm sure you guys spent a lot of time researching the area and stuff too. You probably were already in love with it before you decided to do all that.
Oh yeah. Well, my cousins lived here for 45 years, and that's what I came up here was guiding with him up on the Mendenhall Glacier. And so, yeah, we definitely knew what we were getting into. Didn't know how good the fishing and the crabbing and the shrimping would be, though.
Doesn't surprise me.
I agree with Bill that there should be a Retireholics retreat up to Alaska. I plan to be there this time next year.
Perfect. Earlier. Let's come earlier. A little earlier.
Kush says, please ask Bill to scream, "Merry Christmas, shitter was full."
It's uncanny. Yes. What is that actor's name now? I can't remember.
Not John C. Right? This guy from Independence Day, right?
Yeah.
Randy Quaid? No.
Randy Quaid. Yeah, that's who it is. Yep. Hey, Bill. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'd say you can definitely get Chat Bar Champion points pregame for sure, right?
I would agree.
So we're waiting on Mark, or we'll just go without him?
Wait. We could treat it like that, fourth episode we ever recorded.
Yeah. I don't mind starting without him. Oh, there he is.
Buddy.
Coming in hot.
Little housekeeping, not real housekeeping, but everyone be prepared. I feel like Bill's audio is a little kind of sketchy, and it almost like when we talk over him, he kind of cuts out, and I think it might be his iPhone, so we might have to give him a little space while he's talking. And then Bill, you try to be louder than normal.
Okay.
And then
what about that for me?
If next time you're on the show, get your fucking technology figured out.
It's Alaska, man. They don't have the tech up there, JD.
This is high tech for here.
Your picture's still better than Mark's.
Merry Christmas! Dinner was full.
Brandon, I think we're ready for a slightly late start, but we're ready to rock if you are.
Yeah. All right.
Volume. What's up? How's it going? It's it's Thursday again, and I know what you're doing here. You little retirement plan freaks.
Hey, you.
You're trying to quench your 401k thirst. Well, I got news for you. We got you covered. This show's got an open fire hose just gushing out liquidy 401k knowledge for you. So, just open up your mouth and put those lips on the hose and drink it all in till you can't drink anymore. Let's get this 401k ruckus started. Welcome to another episode of Retireholics. This episode has been brought to you by
He won't do it, Mark.
Viking Cove Guest Homes, www.vikingcove.com. It's a venue for happy, adventurous spirits in Haines, Alaska. Memorable and unique venue for weddings, reunions, and special events. Thank you to Viking Cove Guest Homes. This episode has also been brought to you by a repeat sponsor, pepssuck.org. Protecting advisors and their retirement plan clients from falling victim to the PEP hoax. You know the tagline. There's nothing a motherfucking PEP can do that a regular 401k plan cannot. And yes, I have bought the URL. So go check out pepssuck.org. I got that URL, and I've even paid a guy $80 on Fiverr to make a logo. So get ready for some merch coming down the line.
You said 60 yesterday. You lied.
Well, the guy came back to me and upped it.
He did. He went on the
Whatever.
website.
Get done.
All your
Watch out. Those Fiverr guys will step it up. We've got a guest, everybody, and I got news for you. This is probably, we've had some big guests, and this guy's right up there with the biggest that we've had. Let me give you a few.
6'7".
Let me give you a few words in my stalking of him over the last week on the internet that different writers have chosen to describe him as. Speaks bluntly in his trademarked style. A serial entrepreneur. He's been called eccentric. Someone called him the one and only, but that was John Sullivan, and he calls everybody the one and only, so that doesn't really matter. But he's also been called an innovative thinker. Someone said that he was in a wallet comfortable state, which I think is my favorite one. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later. A wallet comfortable state. I want to talk about that. He has demonstrated the ability to deliver meaningful success, not afraid to speak his mind. Sold his advisor practice to ING in 2000, founded NRP in 2006, sold to LPL in 2010. He's the current founder of GRP Advisor Alliance. I call him just an all-around 401k titan. Welcome to the show, Bill Chetney.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, look.
Jesus.
Bill,
Intro.
while we have you here, why don't you tell us about what you got in front of you? What are you drinking there?
Well, we're very proud of our 2,000 person company or city up here. I mean, it's a metropolis. We have an ace and a true value. We actually have a Radio Shack that is a shack. But importantly, we have a brewery and a distillery, which is a great point of civic pride. A couple years ago, when the distillery came to town, it was front page news that not only does Haines have a brewery, but it has a distillery and still no traffic lights. So this is how I evolved here. And I appreciate all of those kind words and accolades, but they really actually make me feel uncomfortable. And the one that made me feel the least comfortable, back when my buddy Charlie Ruffle put a couple of articles in one article, he said I was a rock star. And then about a year later, he made me a legend. And we all know that the trajectory from rock star to legend to dead in a pool of vomit in your hotel room is.
Hey, Mark,
Sounds.
who's got the monkey with the drums button? Because we need to be
Seriously.
playing that shit. There we go.
By the way, it's not that hot up here, so I got to disrobe.
Yeah, loosen up. Get a little more comfortable while I do a little bit of housekeeping. Housekeeping?
Housekeeping?
No, thank you. Sleeping.
All right, everybody, make sure that you're in gallery view. That's the best way to see this sucker, so you can see everyone's face at the same time. And yes, we're having another CBC. What's that stand for, Mark?
Chat bar champion.
Chat bar champion. All the past winners, the swag has been out there delivered to you. Hope you're enjoying that Retireholics swag. But if you want to win chat bar champion today, make sure you're the smartest. Make sure you're the funniest. Make sure you, I don't know, you're best at those comments. We'll be watching those. And Bill, make sure you're watching that chat bar if you can, because you will have a vote for the chat bar champion by the end of the show. The chat bar has taken on a life of its own. It's probably better than the actual show itself. So definitely pay attention to it. The prohibitive word. If you say this word going forward, you must drink from your penalty drink. The prohibitive word will be participant. Okay. If I need to add one halfway through, then I will reserve that right. We're going to play a new game. I don't really have a name for it, but it's basically kind of like a swear jar. And so for every time that somebody swears, we're going to put a penny in the jar or what have you. And I'm claiming we will. Yes.
That's a swear jar. Every time someone swears, you put a quarter in it.
Who gets the money?
I don't know. We'll use it to buy something for the office, like a case of Bud Light or something.
Fucking awesome.
Wait.
You, Bob.
You, Jim.
So kind of like that, because I'm thinking $15 for each cuss word.
Fuck, $15?
There's one. That's two. And it'll go to charity. So we'll pick a charity at the end of the show. So what I'm saying by that is when you cuss on this show, remember it's a good thing because it's going to send some money to people that need it. All right.
Does the fucking chat bar count?
Can I qualify as a charity? Nevin.
No.
Sure. Yeah.
If I can repeat George Carlin, 7 words you can't say. Fuck, bitch, cunt, shit, motherfucker. That was 5. Okay, $60.
Well,
That's
apparently,
Is it every word or an F-bomb? We got to classify this or clarify this.
every obscenity. So I don't know where we're at yet, but and also since Bill is not, what did that person call him? His state of his wallet being full. Maybe we'll just make Bill pay for like 75% of it or something when we get to the end. Okay, let's dive straight into the first subject matter. I would like to talk about CITs. So for the longest time, 401ks have used mutual funds. Several years ago, CITs started to grab a bunch of the headlines, and that, we're going to have this huge tsunami of 401k plans using CITs. I'm starting to see more and more of it. But Bill, if you're comfortable, maybe you could let the audience know quickly, like, first of all, what's the difference between a freaking mutual fund and a CIT? And then are you seeing this trend of CITs coming to fruition in the DC space?
So, I mean, it's cost. You're buying the same investment. You can buy, whatever you want, large cap growth, and it can be in a CIT, a separate account, or a mutual fund. And it's just who's regulating it, who can invest in it. And the benefits of the CITs are the fact that it's just retirement money, so presumably less volatile for redemptions. And then there's cost advantages. It costs less to manage a CIT than it does a mutual fund. I mean, mutual funds are designed for, the masses that have, $1,000 or $100,000, but it takes a lot of regulation. CITs are deemed to be invested by sophisticated investors only. And so you have a cost advantage, and you can see, 25% off of the price of a particular investment vehicle by utilizing a CIT.
And the price reductions coming from just the lack of regs and oversight and kind of hoops that the CIT has to jump through compared to the mutual fund?
Yeah, there's, everything from the prospectuses and all of the other, requirements that are aimed at protecting individual investors are not in CITs. I think from the money manager standpoint that there's like kind of entrenched position and not wanting to have their margins eroded. So I don't think it's all pure cost. I think it's, inertia. And I think it's beginning to change, but it is a lot slower than I had expected.
And then in the past, like you said, the CITs are really for sophisticated investors. However, in a 401k plan, the plan sponsor can kind of step in front of their participants and kind of take that responsibility, if you will. Is that what's happening?
Right. They are the quote sophisticated investor.
Right. Is it becoming more and more of a trend? Are we seeing it across the country for these plans?
The larger the plan, the more likely you're going to see a CIT in it, right? So if you're going to save 20 basis points on a particular fund and you have $1 million in it, it's less meaningful than if you have, $50 million in a position. I mean, we've got, programs where you're saving 20 or 30 basis points. But again, if it's $1 million, it's maybe too much work to go through. But if you have 50 million, it makes more sense to go through the brain damage. But yeah, if I could just like snap my fingers, or all advisors could say, okay, we're just going to snap our fingers and turn it into CITs, we'd save, working Americans 20, 30 basis points, just like that. Because every single one of those investments could be a CIT right now. And there's products on shelves that just aren't being utilized. And again, it's inertia.
Chad, are you seeing CITs in the proposals or the products for all the large vendors that you're working with?
No,
You're not.
There's a number of them that are, but they're not. I don't know if they're not comfortable talking about, as Bill is right now, the benefits of them, or if they're afraid to go off brand name for most of the proposals that we're seeing. But the vast majority of the large providers are shoving in Vanguard DFA and not having the CIT discussion.
Well, I want to
the question I wanted to ask Bill on that same topic, JD, was where are most of the larger plans getting access to them? Are they coming through the provider community, or are they coming through the advisor community?
Well, a lot of the mutual fund providers have, like I said, tilted these up.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of sitting there on a shelf, but they're just not being promoted. The wholesalers make less money on them, and the advisors don't make any more money on them. So it's a do-good thing, but it's something that's kind of gaining traction. And there's a number of, what we call aggregator groups like us or Hub.
resources or yeah.
Resources, and they're developing this because again, the logic
I want to go to that in a second, real quick. But Chad, like to give you some optics on it, like, so we have current clients that you guys sold a long time ago that are like moving their American Century target date funds, and they're mapping all the money over to an American Century CIT. So I want you to know that the branding thing you talked about earlier, like all the big mutual funds have CITs. And so it's just this momentum that's happening. And so we do have clients that are doing it to get the cost savings. So that's for sure. But the next thing I wanted to ask, which I think is where you're going to, is when these aggregators start to create their own, like, am I allowed to talk about RPAG on this show, or is that not okay for me to do, Bill?
No, 100%. They
got their flex path, right? There's a CIT, and I don't want to pick on them. So let's not say we're talking about them, but are these aggregators in general, is there some not conflict of interest? Is there an incentive for their advisors to put these CITs in place, meaning that they're going to make some more money because it's their own stuff?
Okay. So here's this would be the storyline. And I wish I had this cartoon available because I was trying to get momentum behind this. And it's this, medieval king wading into war. And there's a guy behind the tent with a machine gun. And he says, I don't have any time for your stupid ideas. We have a battle to fight. Okay. I mean, this thing is so simple and so, such an improvement. Again, 10, 20, 30% off. So I think when people start to lose business, that's when they'll think about it. I would envision a suite of CITs. I mean, we've got BlackRock Total Return, and we've got Western Core and MFS and Franklin Templeton. So as that suite builds out, and you've got, and then again, resources, there it is. You're very solid. How did you pull that?
Brandon's on top of it. Brandon's on top of it.
But doesn't that just kind of like tell a story?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. It's a greater good.
So here's the deal. I would like to send a prospecting letter out to my competitors' clients and say, you have $300 million in your plan. 100 million of it is concentrated in these 4 funds. I can map you into those same forms or same funds and save you 26 basis points, $226,000 a year. Would Tuesday afternoon or Thursday morning be better for you? I mean, this is not a sale. It's not even a story.
Yeah.
It's math.
Let me take some of the chat bar's questions, Chad, real quick. There are a lot of people out there are saying, but they want to have tickers. They want to look these things up. Hey guys, technology's come along. You can have tickers with CITs, and you can click on those suckers in your account access the same way you would a mutual fund and see performance and see all that type of stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bill. Like that stuff's come along now. So that's not the issue. That's not the issue at all. And then Bill, you answered my question when I said, can they make more money? You said, you didn't really say this, but you meant, yeah, they can, but you know what? I don't freaking care because it's the greater good and it's okay. And I've said this before, we do live in a capitalist society. It's all right to create a product that generates revenue for you, so long as it's actually doing a good thing for the people that are purchasing it. Sorry, Chad, you had a thought.
No, it just continuing to go down that path and the offerings from the record keepers. I look at Hancock, for example, that does the lowest net share class cost. And that was pretty much their pitch, Bill, 8 years ago when they came out. And they said, look, you can have an A share in your lineup, even though you're a $50 million plan, if we're offsetting everything we're getting because it's the lowest net share class. Hancock was one of the first I saw in the major players to push CITs in the lineup. But I don't see any take rate on them in the space that we're operating in the smaller space that is. And like you said, maybe it's because record keeping side in that smaller space, they don't want to spend the money to set up the CITs in the system when they're not going to get much out of it.
That's a good question for Bill. Bill, we work as a TPA, we're working what you would call the micro space, right? We're in these like startups to 10 million kind of thing. And so we're working with all these names you're familiar with, the Nationwides, the Principals, the Voyas, the Empowers. And in their kind of micro market plans, Chad's not seeing these things. Is there a reason for that you think? And is Chad right? They just don't have the time or the energy and the money to change the system up? Or is there something else that's stopping it from going small market?
I don't think, they're not getting pressure from advisors because, again, on that $100 million note, and I said you can save $226,000, everybody gets excited. If I say you can save $26 on your $100,000, you get less excited.
Right. No, right. But like most things that are up market, it'll come down, Chad.
Yeah, and I've seen it. The reason why I've seen CITs more in the advisor space is a few of those folks that are doing a lot of K business have come to us and said, we want to create a micro market solution. And their request has been, we want our built out CITs as investment options, even if it's a startup plan. Yeah. And so I had to go to battle for them with a couple of these providers saying, look, these are what this advisor wants on all plans that they put with your product. And it was a fight. It was Principal that ended up doing it. And JD, you know the advisor, but it was a request by that advisor and a push to get it in there. And it's worked out real well for him.
Well, and Chad, Mark, Justin, don't tell me that the advisors you guys work with don't want an extra 20 basis points in savings, because they do. They're always spreadsheeting that shit. There's one for the bucket. And they love 20 basis points, even though it's only on a $1 million plan.
You picked a really shitty word tonight too.
He did it on purpose because we all got so drunk the last few weeks.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You definitely worked out.
No, you guys are going into training for the Super Bowl. Okay, we're going to get liquored here. All right, you don't go to the Super Bowl without stretching.
It always happens. It always happens. Another question from the chat bar I want to ask Bill is,
can I before you leave this?
Yeah, shoot.
Talk over the boss. But I'm very commercial and I believe in capitalism and all of that, but I also, get stretched out on positions that take longer to come to fruition. And that's just doesn't matter because it's what I want to do. The question I would have for you on all those things we talked about, CITs, should it happen? Fuck yes.
Should. Yeah, it should.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in fact, fuck
Okay.
yes. $30.
Yeah, it should. That was a $30 point you made, but well made. Very good.
Well made.
Should happen. Well, someone asked, and then I want to move on to a fun little deal we got going on, but someone asked, are CITs as transparent as mutual funds? And I think what they mean is, can I, I'll say it, as a participant, can I go and see what my CIT is made up of and the underlying investments and the associated expenses and the management, et cetera, et cetera? Is that available to me?
Yeah, there's fact sheets just like mutual funds. So
there you go.
Absolutely.
That's the answer. Brandon, well, let me set it up first. To everyone listening in, we are about to spin the wheel of ice, but I swear to you, we have changed the concept for the wheel of ice. And I don't know if you know this, but the wheel of ice started as like a literal wood wheel that we used to spin around back in the day, 6 years ago. But now it is a game of chance. It could land on any one of us. I have gone out and got mine. I believe Chad and Justin, everyone's gotten theirs. And I want to state for the record that mine is 1 pint and 8 fluid ounce. So I'm not drinking the whole damn. It's a big one.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
JD.
What?
Oh, Justin's got it too.
There's no way. I'd be done by the end of the show. So now,
No.
Chad, JD, Justin, Brandon's in the game. I'm nervous. We could lose. So go ahead and spin the wheel of ice.
Bye, Shannon.
The wheel of ice, the wheel of ice.
Yes, Brad.
When
Brandon messages, he's like, "Hey, you got ice, right?" It's like I should have said no. Fuck.
When I told Brooke that it was going to be random now, she goes, "You mean we have to keep that shit in our refrigerator all the time?" I'm like, "Apparently we do."
There's another one for the bucket. Brad was rooting for you, Justin. Brad wanted you to win, so good for you.
Holy smokes.
You're gonna drink the whole thing. Oh my God. Okay, well.
Brad, no, I'm not
right.
going to drink one for the hell of it, okay? There's no way. I'm
Bill
so
was
happy
right.
I don't
Wow,
have to drink it.
Justin, that's a monster Smirnoff you just took down.
Wow.
Wow. All right.
Wow, that was a good one.
Yes. Clap, clap, clap. Very well done.
Hey, with or an ice, March. Pay attention. Fuck.
Oh, there's one for the bucket.
I think now we have two legends. If Bill's a legend on the show, I think Justin just became a legend with
Yeah.
that.
Craig says the
Who's
bar.
in there?
Solid effort. Solid effort.
Hey,
That was painful.
Brian says JD would have drank it the same way. He would have no problem with that. Let's move on to the next subject. I heard something I read something as I was stalking you, Mr. Chetney. And it was something I'd never heard before. And it really resonated with me. You made an analogy to a 401k employee who gets to retirement. They're at retirement. Mm-hmm. And I think the analogy you made, I'm just going to use these numbers, but let's say that person has made a $50,000 salary for their whole career. Now they get to retirement age and they've saved up, let's say $1 million just to keep things simple. So they've got $1 million in this pot that they've saved.
Yeah.
As an industry, we have successfully got them to that point. And Bill made the analogy to like an NFL star that and that is not capable of managing their money. And Bill, instead of me putting words in your mouth, tell us a little bit about that analogy you created, because it resonated with me. I was like, that's freaking interesting.
Well, 80% of NFL players are bankrupt 4 years out of the league. And if you take anybody, I always pick on my brothers just because, they have to have Thanksgiving with me. And I say, look, if you're making $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year, $200,000, doesn't matter. And then all of a sudden you're given 20 times that. I know what I'm doing. Drunken sailor time. All right. I'm going, it's motorhome, it's boat, it's a trip and it's bust. That's human nature. So somehow locking up money and securing the future for people is important.
I've never thought about it that way. Mark, How do you feel about that? Are we setting all these people up for disaster time when we get their 401k nice and big and fat, and then they hit retirement and they don't know how to manage that money? Are they just going to blow it?
Well, I want to say no, because they've worked their ass off for so long. I hope that part of that was planning for what exactly they wanted to do when they hit that point, versus the alternative of somebody stumbling upon, I shouldn't say stumble, but working their ass off and getting 20x the next day, signing a contract and basically being dumped money. Your bank account goes from 20,000 to 20 million. To me, that's very different. That your perception of the value of that money, what your family lifestyle is, where you are health-wise. I don't think so. I don't think we're setting people up. I think if they fuck it up, it's their own fault. How about that?
15. That's 15.
I don't think, who do we got going on there? Oh, that's
Dead? Will Ferrell?
Will Ferrell. I don't necessarily think they're going to be like the NFL star that, tries to live in the $6 million house and drive the Lamborghini, but they might have $1 million in their savings for retirement. And then they want to like buy that car, and it's a $75,000 car, and they should be driving a $25,000 car. And they're going to go, well,
buy that car. You worked your ass off all life. Don't spend all the money.
Buy the car as long as you've accounted for what it means in the future. Like, do some mathematics and figure out.
I mean, and the major difference here is the amount of money you're getting handed. I hope, at least, kind of like you, Mark. Like, I hope people would be smarter than that. It's NFL players, any sports athletes getting handed millions at a time, and we're busting our ass just to save $26,000 a year. So I hope they're a lot smarter than that. Has anyone 50? Done any testing?
I'm gonna ask Bill. I'm gonna set you up here, Bill. I want to know what your guys' potential solutions are for these people. But I think proportionally it's the same, guys. I think you're missing the point. I think proportionately, when someone hasn't seen $1 million where they could just spend it where they want to, there's some danger there. There's some danger that exists.
Sure.
So Bill, let me ask you, what are advisors doing to remedy that? And this is kind of a frontier we don't talk about a lot. We've spent the last 20 years in this industry getting people to save money. What happens when it's time for them to spend it?
Well, there's all sorts of these drawdown solutions and income solutions, and typically they're just sophisticated algorithms that nobody can explain, and let alone understand, right? So if you're an advisor trying to explain it, and I'm not an imbecile, but I'm just not that great at the tech or on quant stuff, and I try to explain how this drawdown thing is going to work in year 17, such and such is going to happen. That does not translate to the consumer. And so some type of income solution, I don't think anything will happen until it is a guarantee, which probably requires some type of an insurance solution. Annuities are impossible to buy.
I'm going to say, if you say annuity, you don't have to put a coin in the jar, but
yeah, I should. It's it only takes you 19 years to get your money back. So, but
it's something new and improved, but like that, a steady stream of income.
Yeah. If I put my money in this thing, I want to know that I'm getting $1,384 a month forever. And that's it. The rest of it, I'm not going to be able to understand. And I don't want to be too negative, but since we're in this election season and we're calling out that everybody should be smarter than just blowing $1 million, are you guys looking at what people are consuming out there? I mean, doesn't matter which side you're on.
Surprisingly, it's increased through COVID. I read.
I think what Bill's trying to say, Mark, is that some people are fucking stupid, and so they need help.
Again, but I didn't have that extra $15. I'm not as rich as you.
I think stupid is a relative term.
Bill, I am a bit surprised to hear you say that, though, Bill, because you mentioned earlier you're a capitalist and you're comfortable making more money and charging for it. Like, I would think you as an individual getting to that point in your life would say, I want to continue to thrive in this market that goes up every single year with some cap to make sure I don't run out of money. That's my fear of and that's, I think, why the income solutions haven't taken off in the case space, is because most folks want to keep achieving what we have seen stretch out over 70, 80 years, which is a market that continues to do that somewhat of an up.
Yep. So go back to like 2002, 2003, and we were trying to build an insured product around this. In 2002, there was all these annuities that had guaranteed 5-6% kickers, right? So you put your money in and you left it for 5 years or 10 years, or whatever the threshold was, and you got a minimum of 5 or 6%. We were able to underwrite that offshore for 12 basis points, right? But it got consumed so much that you were initially able to offshore 100%, then 75%, then you had to own 50% of the risk. And that's what took MetLife out, is that all of a sudden they couldn't offload even 25% of the risk, and they owned this stuff at 600 basis point guarantees. So I don't know when it'll come around, but it's going to have the G word in it. It's going to be guaranteed before people can.
Well, you hear that? I'll let you use.
We've had John Ruth on. We've had others that are trying to find the next solution for stable money. I won't use the term guaranteed like you are, but for seriously stable money with upside capture inside the case space. There are people trying to solve that equation.
Did you hear Bill dropping that knowledge? That's the kind of stuff that Bill knows. Is like, he knows all these like deep in the back boardroom type of deals and how things works. And I wanted to ask him all kinds of questions about mergers and acquisitions today. I've heard him on podcasts talk about 10x EBITDA and all this kind of fancy stuff, but I didn't think it was really that interesting for our audience. So maybe we'll save some of it towards the end of the show, because I'm dying to ask him some questions around some of that stuff. But this guy knows the inner workings of how shit works in our industry. And we need to tap into that a little bit today if we can.
And then I say, if I don't know, I'll make it up.
There you go. Monkey.
That's the rule of our show.
Monkey. Bill, on every episode, we like to play a game, and Mark's in charge of the game. But while Mark's doing this game, I would like Justin to work with the chat bar to find another word of the episode, because participant is not working.
It sucks ass.
I just said it too. I whispered it.
Chat bar, let Justin know. Chat bar, what should we do? Mark, what's the game? Explain it to Bill.
Time for the game. Bill, it's pretty simple. It's called the lame game. I'm going to give you either a sentence or a topic or something. And your job at that point is to tell me, are you game or is it lame? Make sense?
I'm in.
All right. Question number 1. I know it's a little different now with what's all going on in the world, but when you go to a restaurant, and that could be with your significant other, on a date, with your best friend, I don't care who, if you sit on the same side of the booth as that person, is that lame or are you game? And Bill, I will start with you.
If you're with your wife of 35 years, it's game.
I thought he was going to say game. I can see him doing up in some cozy little bar in Alaska.
Yeah.
Chad?
Only with your spouse game. I'm adding caveats in there. Okay, I'm going to say lame then.
I need to make my questions more specific.
I'm
Justin?
going lame.
Lame as shit. I hate that. Side story here. We have time for one?
Yeah, well, you know what, Justin? Floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Take it away. Smearing off.
Out of my 20, 36, 20. So my 24-year-old sister and her boyfriend, we were going to a family event, and my mom was driving with them, my dad. We all had to take different cars. My sister and her boyfriend sat in the back seat, and I gave them a ton of shit for it, and they couldn't understand why. What do you? I mean, is it not proper courtesy to have one of you guys sitting in the front seat, like the passenger seat, the
They're
driver's side?
24 years old. Yeah, it's proper courtesy. If they were,
That's what I
15,
thought.
I get it.
And I got a rash of shit from not my family, but my mom and my sister are like, what the hell's your problem? You're an asshole.
Those
So,
are
anyway,
that's 3 into the jar, by the way. 3 into the jar.
Wait, I
someone's
don't
gonna be rich.
understand. I'm a little confused by that. You didn't want them sitting next to each other in the same vehicle?
In the back seat while my mom was their chauffeur.
Oh,
My dad had to drive his
I
car
thought
because he
you
had to
were
drive separate.
You weren't in the car.
No, I said we were all driving separate. I wasn't in the car and I gave him a rash.
Okay,
of shit
now I
for
get it.
All right.
Sorry. I might be a little intoxicated from the Smirnoff. I might have not.
I love it.
Good
That
story.
calls you out.
Good story. I'm
And
gonna say
Jamie.
lame. I'm gonna say lame, Mark, only because, in all honesty, I've never done anything like that. Unlike the romantic Bill Chetney, I don't hold my wife's hand when we walk down the beach or do any shit like that. So I'm just gonna be honest with everybody.
All lame.
Nope, not Brad.
Yep. All right, next question. Pumpkin spice anything. Is that lame or are you game, Bill?
That's so fucking lame.
I kind of
Especially if
thought
it's
that
at a
was coming.
Starbucks.
I don't know what this charity is, but it's gonna get loaded tonight.
I will say I went to the store the other day and there was some of the weirdest shit flavored with pumpkin spice. I mean, I don't get it. I don't
It's
get
for-
it. Chad,
Lame.
Lame for sure.
Justin,
I don't want any payroll deductions.
It's not coming out of your payroll. We're gonna take it out of Mr. Deep Pockets over here.
all right, JD.
If it's a candle, I'm fucking game.
Okay, I guess so. Pumpkin pie doesn't count in my
That's another
example.
caveat.
Handle.
Handle.
All right. Next question. And this question, you know what? I'm not even going to speak. I'm not going to say anything. It's just going to be all visual. Bill, and I need you to be honest because this might hit a personal level for you. Is this lame or are you game?
I'm game. That's family favorite.
Family favorite.
You Carlo.
Is Bill Jr. in the attendees? I'm assuming
Yeah,
he is.
did he show up to this?
He may have just
Jack.
shot him.
Brandon, do we have a picture of Bill Jr. or no?
Yeah, he's kind of waiting for that man's spot. That's kind of the punchline of this whole thing.
Brandon had a
Where's
busy-
the picture?
Brandon had a busy afternoon. He might not have pulled that one off.
You guys have to email me this stuff. You can't text it to me. I'm
We
not-
texted it to you.
Okay,
I
start
don't,
for the.
no, if you text it to me, game over. I don't pay attention to it.
There
Oh
we go.
yeah.
Oh, there he
Look at
is.
that shit. Look at that.
Man, he's got the stash going right there.
He does.
Oh,
and I'm sure he
Thing is
spins
incredible.
it too.
So who's next,
Yeah.
Mark? Because I'm thinking we're all game.
Yeah,
I was
game.
gonna say, but for the audience, so again, now they know the point there was it was Bill's son, Bill Jr. So Chad,
I'm lame.
Lame
I
on
can't throw
handlebars.
it, so I'm lame.
no, so you can't call it handlebars. That's something very good. That's this. You got to call it Raleigh fingers, right?
Raleigh fingers.
Greg says it right there.
Just a little
Justin,
Raleigh.
I'm game for sure. If you can pull it off, do it.
what do? Okay, how about no? Don't stop. You have to do it now.
I
You
can't
can-
grow it. I mean, this is just
Oh, fuck
you
off!
can
Yeah, you
for
can.
sure grow it.
There's one for the jar. I'm with Amy Glenn. I'm a full beard kind of guy. Mustaches are creepy. Sorry, Junior.
Well, you know what they say.
No,
Honesty's best.
You know what they say.
chat bar. Let me know what they say because I'm still trying to figure that one out. Let's
you guys
jump.
read that Q&A by Bindi.
Justin, do we have a new prohibitive word that I tasked you with?
We have a few options here. I don't know what to do.
Well, you got to
we
make a
have-
choice. It's up to you, Smirnoff boy. Let's go.
Okay. Then we're going to go with any profanity word said.
Well, you're gonna.
Kidding,
I like that.
That's an
Just
odd
make the donations
juxtaposition.
and drinks go up.
That's not fair.
kidding. We came out with basis points, CITs, which we're past that, and advisor, which we've done way too much.
So what's the fucking answer?
I gave you the answer. You didn't like it.
I guess it's swearing. There we
There
go.
you go.
This is going to be a real bad thing. My wife's not
Hey.
around. I'm going to have to call Uber.
Bill said we got to start prepping for the Super Bowl. Here we go.
All right.
JD, I like that you got a new bottle there.
Yeah, I got to reload.
Oh,
I don't
Bill's
like
going
this.
straight to the bottle too.
I don't like this at all. This is a horrible idea.
Hey,
Why don't-
Bill.
Go with some words that are just underutilized, like outcomes.
That's what he did with participant, though.
I know, it's just like, I get so tired of all the same words. It's just, quarterly investment due diligence. Why are we even doing the Chinese menu anymore, right? It's crazy. So we go to participant outcomes for 200, Alex.
Hey, keyword is still a word, Mark.
Oh, sorry.
We can't go. We need to move. We need to move on. It can't be a cuss word. That doesn't work because then we're battling for the charity. I won't. That's
Okay, go
doesn't make
advisor.
sense. We'll go with advisor, and we will leave the P word in just in case it happens. So it's the P word.
Okay, it's both.
It's a twofer. For the third subject matter, I'd like to do a bit of a potpourri, if you will. It's kind of like your idea, Chad, but I'm hoping we can ask some serious questions along with some funny ones. And for potpourri, what we mean, Bill, is we're each going to just ask you random questions that we'd like to. And if your answers are short and sweet, that's fine. If you want to go deep and in detail, all the better. So I will start with, I'll save my funny one. I'll start with a good one. What do you think of, give me your honest opinion, of companies like One Digital and Hub looking to buy their way into the retirement plan space?
Since I have an awful lot of friends over there at both of those places.
Well, I don't want a filtered answer. I want the truth.
You want
Yeah,
the
we
truth?
heard you were blunt.
I paid 5 times when I bought 12 of those firms, and now they're paying 10 times.
They're paying
well,
too much. That's a good
value.
answer.
No,
I like
he's
that.
saying there's
Now,
value.
let me backpedal. So, and not in a serious way. When I was copying what NFP was doing in the late 2000s, the public markets were rewarding public companies like NFP at 13, 14 times. Well, now the public markets are rewarding, like a Gallagher at 17 or 18 times. So why shouldn't there be more X in it for the selling party? Because it's still accretive, right?
Sure.
But I would say that the success of all of those initiatives are driven on cross-selling. And if you sat with any of the M&A guys there or anybody involved, they're saying, yes, cross-selling and synergy, right? And
It's the truth.
it can work if it gets pushed down and crossed over between the advisors. But if it's not done successfully, cross-selling and synergy can be one of those
Yes. We've got
Right?
action. You got a prohibitive word violation, Mr. Chetney. You said the A word, so you got to drink from your nasty drink. But that was good. Chad, what he was saying is when he was doing that kind of aggregator game or acquisition game, he was paying 5X, and these days they're paying twice as much. So he kind of did one up on them. But then he's saying it's worth it that they're paying them 10X because when they go on the enterprise level and they sell to some bigger entity, they're getting 17X. So it's only fair that they pay them more. We haven't talked about this in the past, but so you guys know, one of the reasons why a lot of these, there's probably a lot of people on this show that they move over to those big aggregators. I don't know if you know this, but now you do. They get paid to move over to those things. They get a one-time big kind of upfront payment.
Really?
Where does that kind of land? I mean, is it a set amount, or are they kind of? I would imagine they're probably looking at the book.
8 to 10 times EBOC, which is earnings before owner's comp. So if an advisor's making $1 million a year, they'll say, "Look, damn it."
You can save it. You can save it. Finish your thought.
So if they're going to make $250,000 a year, they sell the other earnings, the earnings before owner's comp, for $750,000 times some number of X, which can get as high as 10 times. So it's $7.5 million. You put those coins in the bank, and you can put up a lot of aggravation about doing your expense reports for your new employer. Right?
Good. I like that.
But I would imagine they'd have to keep the plans around for a certain amount of time, or else they'll not penalty to pay back, right?
Structures are typically a 3-year earnout, and so just use a round number of 10, which is kind of highest end. You might get 3 or 4 times more if you hit a certain growth CAGR. And
Also understand that if you're a FA and say you've got 100 plans and you're moving to one of these aggregators, it's not like disruptive to your clients. It's not like a normal acquisition where you might lose 25% of your client base. You're not going to lose your clients when you move over to those things. So I don't think that's a big concern of the acquirer. But I just want you guys to know here, because I don't know if you knew that, and anyone tuning in, these people could be getting checks, that are pretty hefty to move over to those things. So it's something to keep in mind. So
but the centerpiece of whether or not it works in 3 years when everybody reviews it, it will be the cross-selling and synergy. And again, if you're a seller, you want to look not at Hub as a national company. You want to look regionally. What are the people in my area that I'm going to be told I can go partner with and sell my retirement clients health and welfare? It's local. It's never top down. And otherwise cross-selling and synergy turns into checks in the mail, and you figured that.
Can't avoid that.
Hold on. I can't leave off that though. So most of the time we talk about aggregators, we talk about creating efficiency for a practice. But you're saying it's more about creating referral sources and synergy and ways to continue to build the book. But the folks that I see migrating over, at least in my conversations with them, it's never been about finding more opportunity. It's been about leveraging the tools that the aggregator is bringing. So what you're throwing at me is completely different than what I thought was the actual.
Okay. Well, Chad, sorry, you got to look at it from big boy Bill's perspective. So when big companies like, say, One Digital wants to, make this big acquisition, it's got to be about those synergies, because that's what they want. It's got to flow both ways to create business for more. I understand that a local guy,
an individual.
Yeah, I understand that a local guy might, but don't forget those big entities need many of those little guys or girls to be interested in that synergy. And that's why I thought Bill was so smart when he talked about it being local versus national. So that was a pretty good point.
Yeah, and you guys may be looking at it kind of through the TPA or record keeping lens. So there's like Jerry Bramlett rolling up all that stuff for a census. The margins, I don't know, be a little glib here. The margins in retirement are shitbox, and if you take our shitbox margins and increase them by 20%, Hub couldn't give a fuck. So that was 30. No,
we're getting there.
45.
That was 30. We get more.
I thought this was going to be like $300. I think it's going to be like $1,000. This is going to be a good show. It's going to be a good show. It's going to be a good show. Oh, there goes. He's done. Let's see. Apparently his pockets aren't that deep. Once I said $1,000, he's shot out of here. He can't. Oh, it's going to pay for it. Brandon, Wu-Tang.
Everything around me. Get the money.
Mark, do you have a question for our guest?
Yeah. Why do you have wads of money slaying around your desk right now?
Alaska's a cash country. They don't believe in government.
It's not a country, by the way. It's a state. But
oh no, you're mistaken.
It's its own country.
We're a country.
Okay, well, that's news to me.
I feel like he's in a very wallet comfortable state. Yeah. Chad, do you have a question for him?
Hold on, no, I have a real question.
Okay, go. Sorry.
Question.
I'm ready.
Have you ever gone to a meeting? Could be any type of meeting, drunk?
Yeah, baby.
I can imagine that. At some point.
What?
Sorry, you gotta.
I said I can't imagine if that wouldn't have happened at one point. I can't think.
Sorry, your country must have bad Wi-Fi.
Chad, it's your turn. Anything you want to know of our guest?
I'll stay on the retirement side of things. I feel like Empower went back a few steps by having mutual fund families pay for shelf space. But it's leading to benefit for participants. Yes, I'm drinking for that. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Paying for shelf space.
That is simply the way of the world, and it's the big get bigger, and Fidelity has been pulling out Bitcoin for years and years, right? So I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. I think it just is, right? And it depends on which side of the equation you're on. So if I'm on the side of my clients, I'm going to try to leverage, what I can to get them the best price. And again, I'd go back to CITs. Didn't see them getting $500,000 out of, or $1 million out of various firms and saying, good, give me your lowest cost CIT. I think can in a way perpetuate the, entrenched margins. Okay. I mean, there you go. There's your soundbite for the day. Fucking entrenched margins. There's no other reason. Okay. You guys aren't making any money as TPAs and record keepers. It's gonna grind. Advisors, it's been fee compression forever. But
I'm so happy right now.
Entrenched margins are in the mutual fund.
It's another one, Bill, another prohibitive word, but I'm so happy.
That's why I asked that question, Bill, is because I hadn't thought too much about it. I think what Empower is doing is good. It's the person who is benefiting is the average retirement, investor for that matter. So back to your CIT conversation, I know people are giving them some crap for it, but I'm all in.
Well, they're achieving scale, and Ed Murphy and Bob Reynolds and all those folks. I mean, they did it at Fidelity. They're doing it as a competitor to Fidelity. So I'm a fan of that aspect of it, and it's scale, right? They're achieving scale. They scooped up Mass Mutual, and that's just kind of the nature. I mean, I'll throw a question to you guys. What did you think about, the buying spree of Jerry Bramlett and the Census scooping up?
Future plan?
Yeah,
believe it or not, it actually kind of, and maybe I'm just an optimist, Bill, but it gave me comfort in that the more of my competitors, and the boys have heard me say this, but the more of my competitors they buy up and put under their umbrella, the less of my competitors look more like me. And so I kind of stand out as a family-owned TPA, not bought out by this bigger firm. And I like that because that's my brand. That's my go-to. So it made me feel like, okay, it just makes me accentuate myself in the market better. I also didn't understand it because when I asked the people, I didn't talk to Jerry directly, but I talked to some of the people underneath him. And when I asked why they were doing it and if they were going to bring those assets that were with Empower or Voya or Principal or Nationwide into the census record keeping platform, they stared me dead in the eye and said that was not the plan. And I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense to me then. Why are you buying all these little TPAs and aggregating them if you're not going to bring the assets into your record keeper? But so I didn't understand it, but I was happy to see it happen, is my flow.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody, Will Hackler says, my brand is wacko.
Dude,
Fuck you, Will. Fuck you.
Will Hackler
Because
now
you're
has,
I don't even know
has-
what we're
no. JD, he said this was better than any CE session he's ever attended. Like, that's my quote right there. That needs to go everywhere. You get Bill Chetney on the air and you get a better session drinking beer than any CE session he's ever attended.
Will's a past CBC.
I wonder if we could start offering CE credits for the show.
I don't think so.
We do.
Justin, do you have a question for our guest?
Nope. Am I
Sweet.
supposed to?
Yeah, that's what potpourri. That's what we do.
I didn't know that either.
I will
make it up.
I got one.
What happens when we don't get a freaking agenda before the show?
Jerry Schlichter I call him the 401k boogeyman, or I didn't. Someone else called him that, and I just use that term. Do you think that Jerry is upset? Because I heard that you called him on a recent podcast our industry's chief ambulance chaser. You asshole. Is he mad at you? He might be coming after you, Chetney.
Okay, so what I said was that one of the industry's chief ambulance chasers just got in trouble. I didn't name a name.
Oh, come on. We can put 2 and 2 together here.
Oh, that's because you guys are smart.
Do you never wake up in a cold sweat worrying about the 401k boogeyman?
Dude, no, not at all. And I actually, way back when that thing started, I looked at it again as a capitalist, and I said, holy crap, you can make a fortune of money here, because virtually 75% of the plans are out of compliance, and all you got to do is go for a big pot of money, and then you go over and you sue it, and are you doing that good? But it's just not a path I would want to spend my time doing. But it was a legitimate effort. And then as these things have longer timelines, I think they get overextended, and the good is gone and the economics take over.
I kind of love that he got his hand slapped a little bit, because it shows that now you don't just make a case and get a kind of payout agreement, that you could actually get in trouble yourself. Not that he can't handle the 1.5 million or whatever it was, but still, it's good that he got a little slap on the hand there. And if Jerry, if you're listening, I love you, buddy. You're fine. Don't worry about me. Chad, do you have a question for our guest?
Don't sue me.
Yeah.
I already asked, but if you want me to ask a second?
It's supposed to be rapid fire, according to you.
Yeah,
Chad.
yeah.
It was supposed to be. So do you fold or do you crinkle?
Jesus.
That's creepy.
You've been asking that for 10 years, man.
These are good questions. I can judge a lot about a person based on whether they fold or crinkle.
I'm
You
lost.
use the leaves from outside.
When
He lives in Alaska. He doesn't use
toilet paper.
Oh, toilet paper?
He doesn't use that shit.
Bunch it up into a ball, or do you fold it nice?
Man, use your hand.
Told you.
Chad.
Good questions to the bar right now.
All right.
Chad, Justin, find one here in a second. You can ask them. Chad, that's an appropriate question to ask Nevin Adams on stage at a conference. He's a writer. He's a polite, mature man. Bill is a wilderness man. He lives in Alaska. He catches like fish with his hands. You don't ask him about toilet paper. That's just weird.
I really wanted to know, JD.
It's just weird.
No.
All right, fine. I use Hundies.
Damn it, I always film my movie.
Oh,
Bill. This question, Justin, do you have a good one?
I thought it was good. What do you think of Bill? What do you think of self-regulating organizations?
That's your Where's the monkey?
There's a few rolling through.
Organizations. Yes, I regulate myself.
It's good.
I
That's
regulate
another one.
myself really well too.
That's another one for the bar. I got the last one, and then we'll wrap the show with the chat bar champion vote. This doesn't come from me. This came from someone else. I wrote it down. So I don't even really know the whole concept behind it. But someone wrote in and said, is Bill mad that Vince stole his aggregation idea?
Actually, it's the sincerest form of flattery, right? And I'm not going to it's not just Vince. If you look at this,
right?
Troy Hammond, Vince, Jim O'Shaughnessy, Randy Long, they were all part of NRP. And I'm not taking credit for all their successes. Some of them fucking fantastic jobs and in huge businesses, but the notion of an aggregator, didn't
exist back then.
It proliferated, and I'm still really good friends with Vince Morris and Jim O'Shaughnessy and Randy and these guys. I have my one little adversary, which, that is what it is. But otherwise, I'm proud of what we started, because we're trying to gather resources and gather strength so that we can advocate for our clients against multi-billion-dollar institutions, whether it's money managers, whether it's Empower, Fidelity, Recreators. What we tried to do is say, hey, we're all great. Let's aggregate our power and let's go after for more shit for our clients.
Yeah. And now look at it. Now it's our audience is probably sick of it, because we've had a lot of aggregator related guests on the show recently. Just happenstance that it happened that way. But if that ain't proof, I don't know what is. It's a massive trend across the country right now. And I think there's a lot of good things happening with it. We're running out of time. Maybe we'll go after a little bit and ask them some more questions like that. But let's finish the show properly. And then if people stick around for the after show, fine. Let's vote for the chat bar champion. And we'll play some music and head out. I'm going to start with you, Justin. Who's your vote for chat bar champion?
We'll go with Will Heckler.
Who won last week?
I don't know.
Wasn't it Will?
Did he?
Will, did you win last week? 3 weeks ago, Will says. I don't know, Will. I get wasted every Thursday. Okay. Will's a good vote. Who won last week? Shit. Whoa, what's that picture about, Bill? Chad, your vote.
I'm going Will as well. There were some solid comments tonight, Will. Especially the one that I'm going to put in quotations and throw all over the Retireholics website.
I'm going to go to you, Mr. Chetney, and you can't be like Joe Biden. You can't vote for your son. Did he even chat? I don't know.
I'm going to go with Will Hacker, because I thought his name was Will Whacker, and I thought Will Whacker was such a cool name.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Mark?
I'm not going to vote for the same person everybody else is voting for. He's already won, so my vote doesn't matter at all. I'm just going to give it to... Why are you pointing yourself?
Vote for me. I've been in the chat bar like crazy tonight.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, no, I'd never vote for you. I'm going to vote for Bryant Lester.
Ooh,
wow. Little...
Right.
Yes! You little kiss ass. Voting for Bryant Lester.
How is that a kiss ass?
I actually thought that, and I never wanted to vote for him. I don't know why. But his little games he plays by coming in under a different name. But tonight I thought Tony had a good game. So my vote's going for Tony. And then when Tony actually has a chance to win and I don't vote for him, he won't feel so bad. So fuck you, Tony.
I'm pretty sure that that's not Tony.
$15.
What?
Somebody else probably just came in as Tony thinking it was funny, right?
Well, then if that's true, Mark, they deserve my vote even more.
Hell yeah. If that's true, for sure.
It's not true at all. It's for sure, Tony.
Will Hackler, you are the first two-time chat bar champion.
Repeat
and
winner.
So what that means, when you're a repeat winner,
hey, John.
You have to pack.
Thanks, John.
You have to pack up the shit we sent you and send it back to us now. So it goes backwards, right? No.
What?
Nobody gets it.
No,
I do. I was too busy chatting with John now.
We'll send you more swag. We'll send you more swag. Congratulations, Will, for being chat bar champion. Mr. Chetney, thank you so much for joining us. Maybe you want to give the audience a little view of what's behind you so they can see that that's not a virtual background. And then once everyone's seen that, Brandon, you can play us out with a little music and we'll stick around for some after show after the song. Do we have a
360.
Look at that shit. Thanks, everybody.
Going to get another beer.